Okay. So we have a quiz Friday over 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3. At this point, does anyone have any homework related questions that we could go over? If so, speak now. Okay. The next thing I wanted to do, what I have planned today, by the way, I've made up a practice quiz that's going to be similar to the one you're going to take Friday, and we'll have some time in class to go over that. First thing I wanted to do, though, is that some of you, well, actually, I need to double check this. How can I do this? Let's do it like this. I'm going to turn my chat on. If you are not using a TI graphing calculator, could you send me a chat and just say I'm not or something to that effect? Because I want to go over with people that are actually using a TI-84 on how to calculate probabilities using a normal curve or normal distribution. So if you are not using a TI-84, just send me a chat. All right, thank you very much. So I've got one response. Okay, and so yeah, to the student that emailed me that they're not using it, but they still want to watch, that's good. And so remember, I don't know if you have access to a TI-84 or you're at the campus where you can get it from the SSC, but it's worth practicing. Okay, so let me do. How am I going to do this? Give me a second. I need some blank paper. Where's my blank paper? There we go. So bear with me while I get this stuff lined up. Okay, I'm going to share. What can I see? Yeah, let me just share that one document. No crap. Let me share the whole screen. Let's do it like that. Oh, by the way, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. All right. First of all, in your textbook on page 301, I just wrote it, there's nothing happening. What's going on? There we go. Page 301. You'll find instructions about how to use your calculator to find areas under the normal curve. And what you're looking for, and I'll show you how, it gives you the instructions step by step as well as an example. But let me find the sheet that I'm looking for here. What we're going to be doing is called normal CDF. And we've talked about CDFs and PDFs when we were doing binomial distribution. CDF is a cumulative density function. And so we're going to select under distributions, and I'll give you some examples. We're going to do normal CDF, and then there's a parenthesis there, and then you're going to type in the lower bound. So the leftmost bound, right? And then you're going to do the upper bound. And then another comma, and then you're going to do mu, the mean of the distribution, and then comma sigma, the standard deviation of the distribution. And then you'll type enter, and it'll give you a better approximation of the area than the table. I think I mentioned your table rounds this area off to the, what is it, 10,000 or 10,000th place. Yeah, 4 decimal places. So this will give you a much more accurate, but it's going to be close enough to where if you round it off, you'll get what's on the table in the book. So you could use either way. You can either use the normal tables, or you could use a calculator. Now for this practice quiz today, what we're going to do is when I go over the quiz, I'm going to show you using the table in the book, and I'm also going to show you on the graphing calculator. Okay. So let's say, for example, I need some light here. Give me just a second. Let me find an example for you. This is out of 6.3. All right. So I gave you, let me just make sure. All right. This is problem 25 on page 310. Which was one of your homework problems out of 6.3. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to give you the stuff that we absolutely need. So for this problem we're looking at, or this set of problems, the mean is 85. The standard deviation is 25. And then we're going to do, I'm going to do 2 of these. Here's part A. This is something about blood glucose level, all right? And I am not a biologist, so you can read over that yourself. So they want to know for part A, what's the probability that X, notice this is the raw X value. So even though in this section, they're changing them to Z values and using a table, you can use a calculator and not have to change things to Z values, except on your quiz, you are going to have some kind of a problem where you're going to need to convert Z value or X values to Z values or vice versa. All right, so here's what we would do on the graphing calculator. Ooh, let me make sure that says greater than, I messed it up. It says less, I'm sorry, it's less than 60. All right, so let's say this is our original X distribution. It's not a Z distribution, it's the original X values. The mean is 85. 60 is back here somewhere, right? So what they're asking us to find is this shaded region here, okay? And notice it keeps going back, right? So concentrate on, or take a look at this up here, because this is what we're going to be entering. Now what they recommend, notice it keeps going to the left. So what they recommend is if it keeps going to the left and there's no lower bound, then what you do for your lower bound is you do the mean minus 4 standard deviations. Because remember, plus and minus 3 standard deviations is like over 98% of the data. So that's a very small tail area if you're beyond 4 standard deviations. So let me calculate that first. All right, so mu minus 4 times sigma, that's going to equal 85 minus 4 times 25. That makes sense? Yeah, so 85 minus 100, right? Negative 15. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to enter this in the calculator. We'll make our lower bound negative 15. We'll our upper bound 60. And again, it helps to draw this stuff out, all right? But I'll leave that up to you guys. And then for our raw X data, mu is 85 and sigma is 25. So you should also be seeing the graphing calculator to the left. If you're not seeing that, somebody please unmute and let me know. Okay. So we're going to go to second. Oops, there we go. Second. And then distribution is above the bars key. We want normal CDF, cumulative density function. That's option 2. I'm just going to press 2. All right. Let's make that lower bound negative 15. Now, by the way, some of you are going to have it pop up like what you see on my version of the calculator. Some of you, you're going to see it pop up like this, and you just have to enter it in this format and press enter, okay? Let's make that negative 15. Let's make the upper bound, what was it, 60. The mean is 85. Notice I'm pressing enter after each entry. Standard deviation is 25. And then on this calculator, I'll have to do paste. Some of you are going to type it in and it's going to look like that, okay? And then we're going to press enter. And so we get 0.1586. I just dropped stuff, sorry, give me a second. 0.1586. Oh, and you know what? I am such a numbnuts. I'm looking at I mixed it up with a different problem. I mixed this up with problem 26. But at any rate, sorry, on your actual problem, it's what is it that is greater than 60? And I can do that in just a minute here, okay? But that's the problem that it's less than 60, okay? So that's really not that's just an example, all right? So let me give you what your book actually called for that is greater than 60. Mixing it up with 26. Any questions on that before I erase this and slightly change it? All right. Now, all right, so we found, all right, so we know where we got this negative 15 from over here to make for a lower bound, right? Here is actually what part A in your book is asking. What's the probability that it's greater than 60? All right. In other words, from here up. So we're going to treat it like this. We know this whole thing has to add up to 1. So the probability greater than 60 is going to be 1 minus the probability that x is less than 60. So here's what you would actually have to do for your, if you were doing the actual problem the way they wrote it on the calculator, okay? So we want this red area here, all right? So let's clear that again. Let me go back into second distribution. Ah, crap, I just lost it. Dang it. Hold on a sec. This is really irritating. Let me stop sharing here a second. Okay. All right. So here's 2 ways you can do this. All right. One is, you see what I have typed here in blue, 1 minus the probability that x is less than 60 is the same as a probability greater than 60. So then you can do 1, and you can do minus. And
I
then we
can't see anything.
Oh, because I forgot to share it. Let's try it again. All right, can you see the calculator okay?
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right, so the way that I did it in blue here, you could do 1 minus and then second distribution. Ah, come on. Option number 2. And then we can treat this like we did the probability that it was less than 60. The lower bound is negative 15. The upper bound is, what's the upper bound? 60. Mu was 85. Sigma was 25. And then paste and paste, or press enter. Why is that there? Go back. Yeah, if this freezes up again, I'm going to just make a separate video like this afternoon and put it up for you guys to watch, because I want us to make sure we can do the practice quiz. All right, so let me do this. Second insert. Come on. Second insert. 1 minus. Crap. This is just acting up on me horribly. Ah, this isn't gonna do it. Crap. Let's do it a different way. So anyway, you should be able to do it like this, where you're entering the same stuff we did to find the probability that x was excuse me, the probability that x was less than 60. Let's do it a more direct. Let's do it like this. We'll make our lower bound 60. We'll make our upper bound mu plus 4 standard deviations. Okay? So that's 85 plus 100. So that's 185. Let's do that for the upper bound. And then we have mu is 85 and sigma is 25. This will be more direct and it might not use up on it, I hope. Second distribution. Option number 2. Make our lower bound 60 because we're going off to the right now, right? Make our upper bound plus 4 standard deviations. 185, way up there. That should be the same. That should be the same. We'll paste it. We'll press enter. 0.8413. Okay. So that's this part up here. So that's an example of whether you're doing a left or right tail, that type of thing. And when in doubt, if you don't get enough practice on the calculator doing it, what I'd recommend is go through and try your homework problems with the calculator before Friday. But if worse comes to worse, or if you have to, just use the table in the book. Let me put it that way. If you're not comfortable enough with the calculator, all right? Let me give you one other example, and then let's take a look at your practice quiz. And obviously, this is a practice quiz. You're not going to be graded on it, but I want to make sure we have enough time to go over the practice quiz. I'm going to do essentially the same problem, except part C. Let's make sure I actually write it down correctly this time. The mean was 85. The standard deviation is 25. And part C wants us to find the probability that X is between 16 and 60. Okay. So we're going to second distribution. Option number 2, I am going to press number 5. Second distribution. Option number 2. All right, this time my lower bound is 16. My upper bound is 60. And it's frozen up again. All right, tell you what, let's do this. I don't want this to keep freezing up. What I'll do is I'll make a separate video of going over various probabilities, left tail, right tail, or between two values, that type of deal. And I'll post it and I'll email you guys when it's up, okay? That way we can get through your actual practice quiz. I hate it when this happens. Anyway, let me stop sharing. And I'm just gonna shut the calculator down. And so if you want to try it, if you want to try using that graphing calculator on the quiz, you're welcome to. If not, just use your table in the back of the book, or it's in the very front of your book as well, right? Where are we? Okay. All right, so see what you can do with this. You should be seeing a practice, it says practice problem 6.1 to 6.3, and it's in order of appearance in your textbook. Let's shoot for, I'm going to check in 15 minutes and see where you are, okay? Hey, John, can you hear me now? If so, please unmute and let me know.
I can hear you.
You can? Okay, thanks. Sorry I didn't check the email earlier,
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just having it with my headphones.
or the chat, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, so you guys do what you can, and I'm going to go get some coffee here real quick, and I'll be right back.